Okay, so this is a really good question. This queen says, I'm curious about what you think about going out on dates with men who disclose that they're just looking for casual relationships, even though you are not looking for that type of connection. Is it worth adding them to the dating experience regardless? Even though I am not dating with the intention of getting married and I enjoy getting to know people regardless of the outcome, I do prefer putting my energy in those who at least have the intention of connecting in a more meaningful way than just a hookup or a casual thing. What are your thoughts, Queen Torah? And my response is that it just all depends on what this man means as casual. In the context of romance, casual isn't always synonymous with lack of depth and lack of connection. Casual can simply just means very relaxed, very non-committal, no labels. It doesn't always mean that it won't lead to commitment. It won't lead to a relationship. Sometimes it means just don't be blowing me up now thinking I'm your man. And because there are so many different nuances that come along with casual relationships, this is the perfect opportunity for you to get clear with the men that you're dating and ask them, hey, what do you mean by casual relationship? Are you looking for a friend with benefits? Is a serious relationship completely off the table for you? Or are you seeking to start casual now? And if it's in alignment, move into something serious later. And when you receive his answer, you can then make the best decision for you based upon your current desires, goals, values, and implement the best boundaries for you so that you can continue to be in alignment with who you are as you continue to interact with this man. Now, I'm almost always going to encourage you to enjoy a yummy, delicious man who you can have fun with, who brings tangible value to your life, who gives you a different perspective on things. I'm always going to be a proponent for that. But I'm also a proponent to decline when the interactions you have with men start not to align with your desires and goals. This is a really great question, and I'm happy to answer it for you. In the video you're referring to, I mentioned one of the best ways to enjoy dating and make the progress you desire is to form really great connections with men without being attached to the outcome. I want you to understand that being intentional about dating and being attached to the outcome are not the same thing. And if you are attached to the outcome, it is going to be counterproductive to your intentionality. Here's what I mean. So when you're attached to an outcome while dating, what happens is when you finally meet a guy you like, you need for him to like you back. You need for him to call you back. You need for him to ask you on a second date. You need for him to move you into a relationship. And when that man doesn't do what you need him to do, you get stressed, you get pressed. You can't enjoy the present moment and you slowly begin to hate dating. And when you hate dating, all the men that you date are going to pick up on it and it's not going to work in your favor. But when you're intentional, you're not attached to a man and what he could do for you and what y'all could be together. You're committed to you and your desires of romantic partnership. When you are intentional and you desire dates, you are not attached to a man asking you out on dates. If one man doesn't want to take you out on dates, you intentionally align yourself with the man who will. If you desire phone calls from a guy that you really, really like, but he's not calling, we're not attached to him calling. If you're being intentional, you're going to intentionally go align yourself with another man who's going to call. If your desire is to be in a relationship and a man you are dating is not proactively moving you into one, we're not going to be attached to whether we're going to be with him or not. You're going to intentionally go date and align yourself with the man who actually wants to move you into a relationship. So you see, being attached to an outcome dating these men is man focused. Being intentional is you focused. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. So this is true. The natural feminine instinct is to want to connect. The issue is that in order to connect, you also must be vulnerable and be willing to be seen. And it's really, really tough for women to allow themselves to be seen, especially women of faith. It's because we're conditioned to follow the rules and be nice, good girls to gain acceptance by not just society, but also religion. And because of all the good girl conditioning and all the rules that society has for us, when we go to events with the intention of meeting men, a lot of us start overthinking how to act, what what to do instead of just being ourselves, expressing our own unique, quirky personality. Or if we're on a date, like we're wondering or worrying too much about whether a man likes us, so we're not emotionally honest enough to express our true thoughts, emotions, and feelings. So even though as women, like we desire to connect, we still are in so much fear of rejection, of not being accepted, for not playing by the rules, that we actually hide who we are by not sharing our true opinions, our thoughts, emotions, and expressions, which results in us living behind a mask. And that mask is what's standing between us and genuinely connecting with quality men. So it's not our fault that we've been conditioned to wear the mask, but it is our responsibility to drop them for true, authentic connections with others, especially the men that we desire. So if you're watching this and it sounds like you and you're finally ready to drop the mask so that you can be seen by the quality men that you desire, I have a 12-week mentorship program that you might be very interested in. It's called Curve to Cuff. Curve to Cuff is designed for you to create an abundance of quality men to choose from, build a rotation of men so that you have real options to choose from instead of waiting around to be chosen, and date confidently towards the romantic partnership you desire. A piece of C2C involves me, my team of coaches, working together with you to expose the mask that you've been wearing, break down all the walls that you've built that block the flow of love in your life, and process your emotions around being seen. We'll also teach you how to be open and vulnerable with multiple men at a time so that you can create real options for yourself that lead to real relationships. If you have any questions about the program, you can put it in the comments or slide in my DMs on Instagram at Torah Sense. Let's have a chat to see if it's a good next step for you. So y'all are going to really learn one thing about me. I don't tell grown people what to do. So if you ask me, should I do something? What should I do? I'm always going to point you back to you and your desires. As women, we've just been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for wisdom, and we think other people know better than we know ourselves. And you are the only one that knows what's best for you. So here's a question I have for you. Do you desire to reach out to him? Regardless of what anyone else thinks, do you desire that? Is it going to bug you if you don't do it? If your answer is yes to any of those questions, then I definitely would encourage you to go ahead and do it. The only thing you need to do is just have peace with your decision. So this is a really good question, and I do not want you to complicate this. As I mentioned in my last video, vulnerability is all about showing up as the woman you are and allowing yourself to be seen. What this means is it don't matter if you're seriously dating a man today. You don't have to go back and pull up old drama, trauma, intimate details of your past, unless for some reason it's currently actively showing up in your life and could affect your relationship. So if you're seriously dating a man and you want to be vulnerable, your focus should still be showing up and willing to be seen. For example, I had a client who had a rough week, and in the past, she would have just tried to handle everything on her own and try to be strong about it. But instead of that, she reached out to the man that she was dating and she said, I really need to be held and adored right now. And this man pulled up to hold her and make sure she felt adored. That's being vulnerable. I had another client who got into this ridiculous argument with the man she's dating. Thing is, she was in the wrong. And in the past, she would have just tried to brush over it or just simply say, oh, I'm sorry, and just try to keep it moving. But instead, she decided to be vulnerable. So she went to him and she said, I apologize for the way that I reacted. The things that you do have been triggering me. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the insecurities that I have going on. And I really just want to let you know that that's what's happening for me right now. The last one I'll give you is a client who suffers from alopecia. In the past, it was something she never talked about or mentioned because she was highly insecure about it. But she got into this juicy, yummy relationship with this one man, and she decided to step up to him and say, hey, I suffer from alopecia. I am very insecure about it. And she pulled off her wig, showed him what was happening with her head, and then together he took the clippers and helped her shave all of the hair off because she wanted to go bald. And as he was cutting her hair, he was just telling her how beautiful she was, how sexy she was, how amazing she was. And then she rocked the hell out of that bald head. Now, were you able to see how all of these women were able to show up as the women that they are and were willing to be seen by the men that they're dating? All without the verbal diarrhea and the random ridiculous shares. So if you want to be vulnerable, whether you're dating someone casually or seriously, always focus on showing up as you are, willing to be seen, instead of just saying words just to say words and being vulnerable.